Hello, this video today, we are going to talk about creating a slideshow that will play automatically. Now, this is not always appropriate in every instance, and in fact, the example I will show you today is probably not the most appropriate. I would say this is mostly used when there is no speaker, live speaker, or perhaps, and I'll show in a later video, when you want to record your voice, you can do this as well. But for today's purposes, I'm just going to show you how to create the timings and set it up so that you can play a PowerPoint video that just plays on a loop and repeats itself. This might be appropriate if you are creating something that's just going to play in the background or prior to an event. You want to show some pictures or a presentation maybe about an annual for an annual meeting that has like an annual report and that information, and you can create the timings so that your slides will change automatically to the timings that you selected. Now, why this doesn't really work if you are speaking is because you need to ensure that you have the timings precise, right? So if I'm going to be talking about a particular subject, and in my example here, the time value of money, I need to know how much time I'm going to spend on this slide versus this slide versus this slide. And it's hard to know that um, in advance. So unless I'm going to actually record my voice, which again, I'll show you on a different video, it only makes sense really to use this when you have music in the background or you have something else going on, not when you have some speaking going. So we'll start. So what you might first want to do is figure out what the transitions will be between your slides. So I have already chosen those transitions, and I can show you um, kind of what they will be. So here we go. We see some swipes, some fades, um, some kind of cuts, some slides. This is the checkerboard. Perhaps I might think that these are a little bit too flashy, and I don't want anything to distract from my slideshow. So let's go back into transitions and just choose a simple split. I will change the timing on this split to be a little bit longer. And then I want to just apply to all my slides. So now all my slides have the same uh, transition. So that's an easy way to just quickly do all the transition. And when you're in a professional setting, you really don't need anything too fancy. You don't really want it to be too silly. So I would say, it's best to just kind of use the same transition in a professional setting. So you can just apply those to everything. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to go to the slideshow tab, and we're going to rehearse uh, the timings. Okay, so you can see at the top here, there's a timer, and this is going to say how long each slide is going to be on. So that last slide was 5 seconds, and then I hit the space bar, and now let's hit the space bar again. And I'll just keep, doing it. Again, it's not, for this purpose, it's not so important. And you can see the cumulative time of your slideshow here. So right now we're at 19 seconds. And again, I don't want it to be too long, so I'm just going to keep moving forward. Just a few seconds for each slide. And again, depending on what you have here, if you have a lot of information to read like I do, you might want to keep it longer. If you have pictures, they can be kind of shorter and it can just kind of keep flowing, especially if it's going to repeat over and over. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go into our, we did rehearse timings, we're going to go into setup slideshow. So now you can see a few different options here. So present by a speaker, full screen, this is what we want. We want to show all the slides. We want to advance the slides using timings because they are present. We don't want to use monitors, different monitors. It'll just happen automatically. What we do want to do is we want to loop continuously. So this is going to repeat our slideshow over and over again until we hit escape. So when we go to play our slideshow from the beginning, you can see that it's starting. And now it's going to the next slide, and you'll see it'll go through constantly. So, each is about 5 seconds, maybe a little bit more. So we can continue. We don't need to watch it all the way to the end. But that's how you create a slideshow with timings so that you can be sure to not have to be present, not have to push the button. And it can be used for several settings where that's appropriate. Okay, thank you. I hope you liked the video, and we'll speak soon.